folks. It is Monday. It is Monday Night Nerd. Welcome, one and all, to the show. I greatly appreciate you guys spending your Monday night with me. My name is Myers Corp Cosplay. If you are new here, this is my podcast, Monday Night Nerd. We talk all about nerdy things. We talk about cosplay, video games, movies, comics, wrestling, and a whole lot more. And tonight, we're going to be talking all about my weekend at London Comic-Con. Yes, London Comic-Con 2025 is in the books. It is out of sight, and we're going to talk about it. And it was a great time. Don't want to spoil it, but we're going to get into a lot more detail. For you on TikTok, I greatly appreciate you guys being here. I greatly appreciate you folks tuning in, especially you, Andre, with a woohoo in the chat. If you guys can hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe and all those things, that makes this channel work a little better. It tells me that you guys want to know more about conventions in the area, and we could talk about those because I'm already doing at least 12 this year, and we're going to talk about each and every one of them, including tonight when we're going to talk about London Comic-Con. But first, as usual, we are going to be talking about the newsy news. Let's jump into the news with Nintendo. Let's talk about Nintendo Direct a bit. It was Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe, they dropped the Nintendo Direct announcement where it was about an hour and change all about the new Nintendo stuff coming down the pipeline. And I'm a Nintendo fan. I grew up as a Nintendo fan. I'm still a Nintendo fan. I do not have a Nintendo Switch 2, but I still love the properties. The big ones are all the mainline Nintendo properties. The new Mario Galaxy movie was announced. This is the sequel to the animated movie that debuted, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago. Chris Pratt is reprising his role as Mario, and all the old cast is back. There are some rumors that there are new characters going to be involved. Waluigi, Wario. If it's a Galaxy movie, Rosalina will play a part in it. Overall, I'm happy. I'm excited for it. I am a little surprised they went straight into Galaxy. I was kind of thinking we would get a world before we went to a Galaxy, only because the end credit scene for the Mario movie was Yoshi. And if you're a Nintendo fanatic, you know that Yoshi was first brought into prominence in the Mario universe in the World Series, but we're going straight into Galaxy. I think it's interesting, but I honestly think they could have, maybe they're going to do a World next, and maybe they'll do a Sunshine next, and then an Odyssey, and a whole lot more, but we got Galaxy next, so I'm intrigued. We also are getting a re-release of Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2 on the Switch, and that's going to be digital and physical. It is odd that we are getting another re-release of Mario Galaxy as it was in the 35th anniversary collection with 64 and Sunshine not too far ago. I guess it's okay. I guess because that was such a small release window, some people missed out and was not able to get it. I got it day one because I'm a big Mario fan, but still interested. I probably will still pick it up again because I've had Galaxy 2 for years and I've never played it. And I loved Galaxy 1. I've beat Galaxy 1 a bunch of times, but for some reason, never played in Mario. I have never played Galaxy 2. So I'm excited to give that one a shot finally. I know the price tag is a little high for some people, and I completely understand why. In Canada, where I live, and probably where some of you live, it is looking to be $90 for the two. That is, or 89, yeah, 89.99, which is a little steep for. Yes, you're getting two games, but they are older games. They are from 2 console generations ago, so it's a little steep in my price point, but I'll probably still end up getting it because I'm a Mario fanboy. But I was excited for that. There is a new Mario Tennis game that is coming out. I'm excited for that one too. I missed the last one, but this one looks interesting. I find it funny that they have titled it Mario Tennis Fever. That's an odd choice for a name, but okay. Looks like there's different rackets with different powers on each one. Cool. I guess they're making it a little more interesting, but yeah, tennis. all right, I like the first tennis. I played one of the other ones. I think it was for GameCube, and it was fun. So I'll give this one another shot. And lastly, the one that I think everyone laughed at. They are bringing Virtual Boy to the digital Nintendo console. Who asked for this? I do not know. This was the most fun announcement just to see people's reactions online because it was very similar to mine. Huh? I do enjoy that they posted a photo saying 14 games are coming. And it's like, yeah, because there was only 14 games made for that console because it died so slowly. It's like having them go, we're going to put all the Sega Jaguars on. Like, no one cared about the Jaguar. No one cared about all those mini consoles. I'm sorry. I don't understand why Nintendo's doing this. No one's going to play it. And that they want you to buy the peripheral to put your Switch or Switch 2 into it is just hilarious. And that they're still making a cardboard version of it. I'm like, folks, you put that thing on the market. We're in 2025. There will be free 3D print files the next day that people will just buy and they'll just print them. I might do that just for a laugh. But yeah, I could not. They just, for some reason, they just do not want to do the DS because that is what everybody wants, but they just don't want to do it. I don't know if it's a technical thing. I don't know how it could be, but yeah, they just do not want to do the 3DS, and I do not understand why. But yeah, that was kind of the main things. There were some other ones of franchises that I really don't. I know there was a what the hell is that fighting game? Not Mortal Kombat. Fire Emblem. There was an announcement for a new Fire Emblem. There's a new Yoshi game, which is cool, but the last one was real too kiddie for me, so I might have aged myself out of that franchise. But yeah, that's cool. We got more stuff coming from Nintendo. I had no doubt in that. It's Mario and all those properties are just going to keep pumping stuff out. So good for them. I see we got the chat blowing up a little bit. We've got Tiffany in chat. There we go. She's jumped in from the Capes and Chaos group. Nice to see you. Alex, did you make it out Sunday? I did not make it to London Comic Con on Sunday. It was, we'll get into it, into the show. We'll get into it. I'll talk a little bit about why I was only there on Saturday. Let's continue with the news a little bit. Marvel Zombies. We are doing a Marvel Zombies TV show on the Disney Plus. It is going to be animated. It looks like it is going to be the very same style of art as the What If series when they had the What If episode. I loved this series when I was growing up. It came out when I was in high school. I'm a big Evil Dead fan, so they had some Ash integration into it, and that sort of got me into the series. It was a great series. I don't know how I feel about this series when it comes to the announcement. I didn't mind the What If episode. I don't know. This feels kind of boring to me, and I don't know. I read a study recently about TV shows, and that we've kind of got into this dystopian, everything sucks kind of way of writing TV shows. And a lot of the audience is getting bored by it. And I'm starting to feel that way when it comes to shows like this, where the zombies are like, we had Walking Dead and all those shows, and it just seems like everything's always in mass chaos. And I'm like, what are we going to do with this show that isn't just everyone dies in the end? And that's just boring to me. That was one of the most boring parts of one of my favorite horror movies, Dawn of the Dead. I love the remake in 2022 or 2002, but I knew the ending was just going to be no one makes it. So it was like, I don't really care what the stakes are because I just know the ending before anything happens. So I'll probably give it a test to see if it's any good or not, but I don't know. Tiffany just said it's a cool concept, but I can't see it working as a show, but comics and art, yes. Agreed. I think it's a great idea for a show, especially because that series has not been in the spotlight a lot over the past decade, 2 decades. I think it's a good concept to do for a TV show. I've read those books. It's kind of just to me at this point. So I hope it does well. I hope there's an audience for it. It's just not for me. And I'm starting to realize that. I've probably mentioned on the show a couple times that I've just come to a point where there are certain things about these big franchises that are just not for me anymore. And that's fine. Ironheart was one of those things. Some people loved it, some people didn't. I haven't watched it. I have no desire to watch it, but I hope there's an audience out there, because if there's an audience out there for it, that means we'll get other properties from Marvel and DC and all these comic book stuff that I might like. So I'd rather have a chance at bat than none at all. So I hope people like it. Let's jump to the other side of the street. We talked about Marvel. Let's talk about DC and a comic series that is coming out that caught my attention that I don't think anyone's really talking about. DCKO. DCKO is a 5-issue Superman-centered event from Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, who I love, and Javi Fernandez. The story features a 36-character knockout tournament across the DC universe, transforming Earth into a battle arena. Okay, you have my attention. Heroes compete to generate enough Omega energy to challenge Darkseid and crown a new King Omega. So, as a wrestling fan, this is the DC version of King of the Ring, which I think is so cool. Major tie-ins include Justice League, the Omega Act, Titans, Superman, Justice League Unlimited, and The Flash, if you are reading any of those. I think this is a cool concept. I think this is a pretty darn cool concept for a comic book. I know they've had some big beating the crap out of each other storylines before, but having this sort of be like just a knockout tournament, okay, you have my attention. I saw they put up the 36 characters. The one that caught my attention, the Green Lantern that was chosen, is Guy Gardner, which is amazing, because if anybody is going to win a knockout tournament, it is Guy Gardner, because he is going to not pull his punches. So I'm interested. This has actually got me pretty interested. I've got a little comic book shop around the corner from me that I haven't frequented in a long time. I have to go there to pick something up, and I'm thinking I might tell him to start holding these books for me, because I am very interested. This is going to be a fun one. Other than that, when it comes to news, only 2 things left. Hey, Red Moon Glassworks is in chat. It is good to see you as well this weekend. I have just caught up with Peacemaker. I am on episode 4. It is done. We're now waiting for episode 5, which will happen on Thursday. So far, great season. I'm liking not the twists. I shouldn't say there is any twist, but just the storyline that's going on. I'm liking the new characters that are introduced. I'm not going to spoil anything, because I think it has been brought up multiple times if you've read any interviews from any of the cast. Eagly does have a villain in this, and I am really interested where they're going to go with this. He is introduced in episode 4. I want to see where this goes, because this looks like it's going to be a fun villain for Eagly. I think John Cena's knocking it out of the park. He's doing a great job as Chris, as Peacemaker. The entire cast is knocking it out of the park. Don Cheadle it's not Don Cheadle. Oh, I am just kicking myself that I cannot remember his name. What the hell's his name? He's the cop in the new season. It's not Don Cheadle. What the heck is his name? Somebody in chat, throw it in. What the heck is his name? He's from Tim Meadows. Tim Meadows, thank you. Tim Meadows, SNL fame, the ladies' man fame specifically. He has a condition called bird blindness, which I fell on the floor laughing because it is the dumbest problem to have. But if you don't know what bird blindness is, he can't tell what bird is which. So when Eagly attacks him, he thinks it's a 7-foot duck, which is so dumb, but it kind of works. He uses it as a crutch throughout the first 4 episodes. Yeah, it's been fun. And segueing from that into the last thing I want to talk about, I mentioned it last week. I am super excited that I am working on a Peacemaker cosplay. A good friend of mine who is also a cosplayer was getting rid of his, and he asked me if I want it. So we are working on that. I have printed out the new gun. I am just waiting for a friend of mine to finish the 3D print file for the helmet. I know I could buy it, but I had one and I just needed it to be cut a specific way, and she is amazing at 3D modeling, so she is finishing that for me, and then I'll get that done, so it will be ready for 2026. And just before I left for London Comic Con, I was searching on Facebook Marketplace and I had this appear on my feed, and it was $15, and it is something that I have always wanted to cosplay. And I will tell you right now, I am so happy to do this. If you've ever watched the show back in the day, this was my first cosplay at a Comic-Con. It was the most boring. I could not afford anything, but I was just wanted to cosplay for the hell of it. So I got the sunglasses and I got the jacket, and I did a basic version of this. And now I'm so happy to say I will actually be doing a full version of this in 2026. I will be representing the Superman Club, and I will be rocking Superboy next year. A person around the corner bought this for her husband, and he's never worn it. So she's like, I want to get rid of it for $15, and I bought it, and I'm so happy. So next year, I will be rocking the DC with Peacemaker. I will be rocking Superboy. And after I bought that, I was so excited. And then I went, another cosplay with a leather jacket. So that is the biggest problem with me doing Superboy, is that it does have a specific leather jacket. I am going to have to do the S on it. So I cannot use my Ghost Rider jacket. So I have to get a new leather jacket. I did get a pair of boots yesterday that I'm super happy about. There was a lady who was getting rid of a pair of high women's. Yes, they will, because they were size 11. For those out there, if you are with me, I don't know if it's just me, I'm a size 10, if I get a size 11 women's, it fits perfectly. So I found a size 11 and they fit perfectly. So I now have the boots, I have the suit, I have to get the jacket, and I've got the sunglasses. Sunglasses are right here. So Superboy next year. Super excited to finally rock a full-fledged Superboy. I get to be a cocky prick at a con, which is going to be great. That is it for the news. I greatly appreciate everybody hopping in here. Pretty Nerdy Crystal, I just noticed the tie. I told you guys that Stan the Mannequin was just hanging out, showing everybody his thing, and I said I was going to censor it, so welcome to me censoring it. That's the best I could do for now. I am going to put actual pants on him. However, I guess I should say, next week, I will be at Hamilton Comic Con in the autograph area. I will be there all weekend. And then a couple weekends from now, it has now officially been announced, I will be at Niagara Games Con again. This is my second year being invited as a guest. I'm so thankful to be back. Freakish Workshop was announced today. He will be there, and someone else who's in the chat might be announced soon to be there as well. So if you're in the St. Catharines area, you should come out to Niagara Games Con. It's a little tiny con, but it's a great con. I'm serious. You will have a great time there. We had a blast last year, and also the vendors there. If you're a video game fan and you're looking for retro games that are kind of hard to come by, but you're looking for a good price, go to this con. I picked up Bayonetta for PS3 and Portal 2 for like $20 for the two. So definitely go check out Niagara Games Con. It's in St. Catharines, Ontario. Check it out later in the year. It is a great con if you're looking for games for a good price. I think that's it. Yeah, Hamilton, Niagara Games Con, and we're probably going to have about 15 more this summer, this fall, because, man, I've still got a packed schedule. Folks, I greatly appreciate that you're here. If you can hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, all those things, it means a lot. Sponsor, as always, is my beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife. Hun, I love you. And everyone, you know I love my wife. And if you're new here, it's not because I'm sucking up. It's serious. I do love her. I would not be the person I am without her in my life. So, hun, I love you. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you. You will always be my sponsor. All right, let me have a quick drink of water, and we will get into the main event. Let's talk about London Comic Con. If you are tuning into this video later on, or you are watching this clipped onto its own separate video that I'll post on the channel, you can be a part of this discussion Monday night, 7 o'clock, every Monday. We talk about this stuff. We talk about comics, movies, music, everything nerdy. That's why it's called Monday Night Nerd. Tune in, be a part of the discussion. London Comic Con. Let's talk about this. It was in, obviously, London, Ontario, at the RBC Place. This was, I think, I heard the 11th year or something. It's been going on forever, and it's been a blast every year is what I've heard. This is my second time. This is my second time going to London Comic Con. The first time was actually 2 years ago. I was not able to make it last year because I was sick, and I was really sick. I was invited by a couple people to be a part of their booth, and I was really excited to go, but literally I was driving to London. I hadn't left Hamilton yet, and I was literally falling asleep at the wheel. I was so sick. And that was the point when I went, no, I shouldn't drive. Drove home, fell asleep, woke up about 4 hours later, went into this room, because this is my cosplay storage area, and I realized I did not bring, and I brought half of my Gambit cosplay. I left half of it here. I was so sick, I didn't even pack all of it. So this was my second time going. This was my first time being a booth babe. I was a booth babe this year. I was very excited. Freakish Workshop, who was in chat, was selected to be a guest this year. Very happy for him. And he said, I am needing to, I was asked, do you want to come hang out? And I said, of course. Why wouldn't I? I get to hang out with you, get to hang out with other cosplayers. I would be more than happy to come hang out at your booth. So this was my first time being a booth babe, handling, I guess you want to call. I did help Freakish Workshop with some stuff. And let's talk a little bit about London Comic Con. This is the furthest con I've ever gone to. I will say right off the bat, I hate driving. I've never been a big fan of driving. This was about an hour 45 to get there, and Toronto, depending on traffic, is usually about 45 minutes. Toronto pushes my limit when it comes to driving. So when they get that teleporter like Star Trek, and I can just beam anywhere I want, I'll go to every con. But that driving part sucks. So this is one I've kind of been apprehensive about going to, just because I'm not a fan of driving. I'm not a fan of going far. So when Freakish Workshop reached out, I went, okay, this is a reason to go. And I'm glad I did. 100% glad I did. Freakish Workshop was rocking his Green Goblin that day. And then the next day, he would be rocking his brand new Rhino cosplay, which was nuts. I didn't get to be there to see it in person when he was wearing it, but I got to see it, and I got to carry that SOB. That thing weighs a ton. So I've seen the videos. Congratulations on that. Start things off. That looked incredible. I know, unfortunately, you were only able to wear it for a little bit, but it looked amazing, and I can't wait to see where you're going to improve on it. I got there around 9:30 in the morning. Traffic was thankfully bright and early, nice and easy. Got there, met up, and just kind of started the day. With 9:30 being the start time, it wasn't too crazy at the beginning. It's not like a fan expo where there's 5 billion people waiting out front. There was a very good amount of people waiting first thing in the morning. The floor setup. Let's talk about this because I think this is something that is going to be improved in 2026 with let's be honest, there's going to be a new venue in 2026. The RBC place is split into 2 floors. The bottom floor, which is where we were, was the entrance, and there was all the cosplayers. There was the 501st. There was some charity booths. There was some artists, and that was kind of it. And the mini stage was there too. And then we went upstairs, and upstairs had most of the vendors, had the comic book artists, had the celebrities, had the photo opportunities, and they had the main stage. I'm not too thrilled about the double floor, personally. That is not the way I like Comic-Cons, and I know they can't really do much about it with that venue. I kind of like having everything all on one floor because I feel like one of the 2 floors at any of these cons, and I'm going to use Expo as a big representative of this, one becomes a transition floor, one becomes the main floor that everyone hangs out on. Usually the bottom floor is the transition, and the top floor is the main booth, or the main floor. So, floor setup when it comes to having the 2 floors is not the best. When it comes to what was there, it was something that I think they've mentioned. The individual who helped, I believe he is one of 2 people who runs London Comic Con. This is something they've really wanted to push. This is not a flea market. This is definitely something that is more than that. This is something they want to sort of have, I don't know, like a hangout venue, something to do while you're there and not just spend money. And I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate them having a lot for people to do. Hey, sir, I just want to give a quick shout out before we go any further. JS is in chat. I hope you are doing well, sir. It sucks we did not get to see you at London Comic Con, but I'm glad you're healthy enough and happy enough to be here in the chat. Means a lot to me, sir. I hope you're doing great. It's been a rough week, but I'm slowly getting better. That is all that matters, is that you're getting better. The floor setup, there, like I said, there is a lot to do at this con, which I think is a benefit of this con, because as I said, there are a lot of cons that it is becoming a flea market where you have to spend a certain amount of money to go in and spend a little bit of money. And that is, I think, becoming a little apparent to people and kind of getting annoying to people. So going into this con, I really did appreciate that when you walked into the front door, the first thing you're pretty much met with are the 501st and all the cosplayers, which is dope. Not just because I'm a cosplayer and because I was at one of those booths, it was that you immediately walk into not vendors. You walked into stuff to do, stuff to see. When you went upstairs, I remember going up and going, well, I'm going to go take a look, see if maybe, there's some DC Green Lantern stuff. I couldn't find anything up there. And not that the vendors didn't have good stuff. It was just not a ton of them and nothing I really wanted. There was more just hanging out and doing experiences like the Geeks & Co. having the Iron Throne there. There was a Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead setup. You can get some photos taken. There's a whole bunch of comic book artists you can walk down and talk to. I appreciate that, even as someone who has done so many cons. I'm kind of trying to keep track and trying to think of how many. I have to have done 50 cons at this point because I started in 2009. I started volunteering in 2011. Just when I started volunteering, that bumped it up to 3 to 4 cons a year. And like this year, I'm up to 12. I think last year I was at 10. So I have to be close to about 50 cons. I've just been going nuts for the past 16 years. So I've seen the vendors enough. I've seen like every childhood toy I've ever wanted. I've seen everything I've ever wanted to buy. I've had the opportunity to buy. So the idea of going to a flea market does not appeal to me in the least, to the point where I can tell you what half the vendor stock is at this point because like, it's just the same people. Like, in the Southern Ontario area, like, people ask me who, like, especially when I start new jobs and stuff, like, I tell them what I do, and they're like, well, what are the cons? Like, how many cons do you go to? I'm like, I'm up to like 12 a year. And they're like, what do you mean there's 12? I'm like, yeah, like, there's 5 in Toronto, there's London, there's Hamilton, there's 3 in Niagara, there's a couple in St. Catharines. Like, you could almost do one a weekend in this area. But there's only so many vendors that can do these cons and have the funds to pay for a table and make a profit. So I've seen everything. So the idea of going to these shows to shop is pointless for me. That is one of the benefits of being a cosplayer, because I don't want to shop. I want to do other things, like sit on the Iron Throne, meet other cosplayers, yak about that stuff, get my photo taken at free photo booths and stuff like that. So that was very nice. It was very nice having that type of traffic. It was also smart that they put a free photographer right by the cosplayers. I was talking to Freakish Workshop while we were sitting at his table about this, because the cosplayers had to come to this area to get their photo taken, which was nice because that also brought them into the world where other cosplayers can talk to them. And other people had their cosplay set up so they could yak about, oh, how'd you do this? Like, he had a bunch of people coming up talking about Rhino. There's a bunch of people talking to the Capes and Chaos people who were next to us, who were giving away a bat suit and getting photos in front of a big Arkham background. It gave people things to do if you were a cosplayer, but even kids walking around. Hey, you're in a Spider-Man t-shirt. You want to get your photo taken in front of Arkham? Cool, do that. I love that they were able to do that. I love that they have, I don't know if that is, I work in marketing. I've studied marketing. I still study it to this day. If you ever go to a grocery store, the grocery stores are laid out specifically for a certain reason. It is not a random reason. The expensive stuff is at the back. The stuff you're going to need all the time is in the back. You are always, like, the bread, the milk, the frozen stuff is all in the back, because they know you're going to go through that. And hopefully while hitting through those aisles, you'll pick up other things on your journey. I don't know if London Comic Con specifically built this way, but if they did, good on them, because that is a brilliant way to get people to hang out in that cosplay area and talk to cosplayers, instead of putting them in a room that nobody goes to. Not naming names, but I think we can all put 2 and 2 together. We got a whole bunch of people in chat. Let's go through Freakish Workshop. Not to mention, they're at this point in time a limit of what makes money, like Funko Pop's comics. Agreed. It's kind of a weird year and a kind of a weird trend that's going on right now, because the Funkos aren't doing that great. Comics are kind of doing okay, but not great. Depends on the series. Absolute Batman's doing amazing, but not much else. What are people wanting? It's kind of becoming an anime type thing where everybody just wants anime stuff. So kind of got to work with that a bit. JS says, that's exactly what makes London Comic Con so cool and different, and why I personally love it so much. I got to admit, I can't blame them for it. I think that's a great way of doing it. It's something different. Andre said, don't get me started on that room. I know. Agreed. So let's talk about the day. 9:30, get there. We're hanging out at the booth. I am dressed as J. Jonah Jameson for the first time, and I gotta say, I don't care if it's a closet cosplay. I don't care if anyone makes fun of me because it's a closet cosplay. Screw them if they do. That is one of the most fun times I've had as a cosplayer, because just chirping every person who was in a Spider-Man cosplay, having fun with every kid, talking about why they're wearing his merchandise. Oh, it was such a blast. That is going to be in the rotation from now on, because it is so fun. There was a cosplayer who was dressed as Robin with a Batman, and me and him went back and forth for about 3 minutes about, Batman choosing him as the Robin. Should have went with someone else, and he's like, Dick Grayson grew out of it. And I'm like, you had so many options, you had so many choices, and you picked that one. Why'd you pick that one? It was such a blast. The kids, there were certain kids that walked by that I would chirp them and they wouldn't really react to it. The dads, however, were falling on the floor laughing. It was great. It was really, really fun. I just wish I got a chance to hang out with the other Spider-Man and Spider Universe people on the Sunday. Well, let's talk about that quickly. The main reason I was not there on the Sunday was because I didn't want to buy a ticket. And I don't want to say that as a negative. So I was invited there, as I said, because of Freakish Workshop, and I greatly appreciate the invite. However, I did not have a hotel in the area. I was staying at a friend's place in Tillsonburg, which is about a 40-minute drive from there. So I was staying there all day, and then I was going to Tillsonburg, and then I would have to get another ticket, or get a ticket for the Sunday, drive back, hang out with everybody, which I love doing, do the photo thing, and then get ready and drive home because I had to be home this morning for work. The other reason is, and this is the more important thing, I would get bored at this con. I would. Not saying there's anything wrong with the con. I would get bored. And the reason is, and I've talked about this on the show before, I'm to the point of doing conventions where I call it the roller coaster effect. The roller coaster effect is I started at Fan Expo Canada in 2009. I've gone to Fan Expo Canada for the past 16 years. Any other con, because I've done so many, I can kind of run through a con in about an hour. That's just the way it is because I've seen so many and I've done so many. I know if I went back on Sunday, I know Freakish Workshop doesn't need my help, even though he'd be more than happy for me to hang with him. I have no doubt about that. I wouldn't have anything to do. And I would probably get bored very quickly. Even as JJ, and even as seeing the other cosplayers and seeing the kids and stuff, I felt like I would be very, very, very bored very quickly. That's kind of what happened the first year I went, because I was invited there, and I was I'm very thankful that I was invited there by London Comic Con to come and check it out. The problem is, though, after about 2 hours, I had nothing to do. And I didn't know Freakish Workshop at that point, really. I knew the Geeks & Co., but I don't want to hang out at someone's booth because I feel like I would be that person who's like, entertain me because I don't have anything to do. And I don't feel good doing that. That personally would bug me, even though it wouldn't bug anybody else. Probably. I mean, Jeff would get annoyed by it and want to punch me in the face, but that's Jeff. We have that relationship. But I don't like that. I want to feel self-sufficient. I want to not be bored by just walking around. So I just didn't want to feel that way. Also, I am working Hamilton Comic Con both days next weekend. Screw it, I guess I can say it here. I've been promoted to the lead of the volunteers in the autograph area. That is my new position. I will be the lead person there. So I am not that I showed up and just slacked, but I am in charge of people now. So I have to be at 100%, and doing back-to-back cons, even though there is 5 days in between, it is still tiring to do 2 weekends back to back. So having that extra day off, having a Sunday off was nice, is very nice. I don't feel as beat up today as I could have. So yeah, next week I will be in charge of a lot more. So I needed that little bit of energy. So if I was invited back for the Sunday, I would have been fine. But knowing that I have a lot of responsibility next weekend, because it's also my first time being that lead person, I kind of wanted to be a little bit more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed than I could be. What else we want to talk about? I got to meet Maggie Robertson. If you don't know who Maggie Robertson is, she is she's one of the voice actors in Baldur's Gate 3, but more importantly, because I'm a giant Resident Evil fan, she is the voice of Lady I can never pronounce her bloody name. Lady Dimitrescu. I believe that's how you do it. She is an incredible voice actor. I'm such a fan of hers. I went to get it for a friend of mine, and I was more than happy to get it because they got the autograph. I got to meet them. So 50-50. She is an amazing voice actress. She was so sweet, so nice. I'm so happy to meet her. So if you are a Resident Evil fan, take the time, go meet her. She deserves all the love. She's great. Geeks & Co., as I said, were there with the Iron Throne. They kicked absolute butt. They had a constant flow of people wanting pictures in the Iron Throne. And I don't know if JS is still here, but congratulations to them, to Rob, all of them on the team. Congratulations on their 200th episode. I've watched about half of it. They shot it live at London Comic-Con. Dude, you guys are amazing. You guys are killing it. I can't wait to see where you guys are going to be at episode 400. Jeff is probably going to kill somebody by that point, but that might just me, don't know. But yeah, congratulations. They deserve all the love. They do a great job, and they are great at building the community in not just London, but across the entire Southern Ontario area when it comes to cosplay, and not just cosplay, just geekdom in general. Overall, it was a ton of fun. It was, I like this con. And I will definitely be going back next year. I will not say anything I'm not saying I won't go back. But again, I think it definitely has to be in some kind of capacity where I am either a booth babe again, or maybe I get selected as a guest. That is probably going to be my way of going, only because the hour 45 drive is a little much for me if I'm only going to be spending a couple hours at the con and then get kind of bored. And again, nothing against the con. Go to the con. London Comic Con is a great con. I've just done so many that there's not a ton to do at these cons besides my cosplay that I haven't already done or that I need to do. I am intrigued, however, as I mentioned earlier, that it is going to be at a new venue. I'm excited to be at the new venue. I've heard great things about it. I think it is going to be better. I've heard that was a venue that they used to be at. It is going to... I think it'll bring in a better crowd. I think it'll be a bigger crowd. I think, like I said, that history of that venue is going to play a big factor in people coming back. Boomster Joe, what about their Legends cosplay announcement? Legends cosplay. I did not hear a Legends cosplay announcement. We could put in the chat. What is that? What is their Legends cosplay announcement? I must have missed that one. But yeah, I will probably be back this next year, and if I don't, I'm still going to push the daylights out of this con because it should be a great event. Everybody should go to this con at least once. It's for the Masters winners to compete against each other. Oh, okay. Interesting. Master Cosplayers Only contest. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. So they're adding something. Master Cosplayers Only. Intriguing. I am very interested in that. Okay. So that means that the ones in the area that'll be doing a master's level cosplay competitions are Fan Expo Canada, Anime North, and now London Comic Con. Interesting. Yeah, you know what? That announcement alone is going to bring in some amazing people and some amazing cosplayers. So I like that. I think that's really cool. I also heard the cosplay competition went well. I heard that was a great cosplay competition. I've not seen any videos or photos of it, but I heard it was great. Freakish said if I don't come back as a guest, I will be competing. Ooh, interesting. Can't wait to see what you're going to do. I do want us to give a big shout out to my buddies Edith and Aaron for letting me crash at their place in Tilsonburg, because that made my day a lot easier, because man, I did not want to drive that night. I was probably 20 minutes from Tilsonburg and I could just feel myself falling asleep already, and it was only like 9 o'clock. But overall, this was a fun night, or a fun day. I had a fun time. I had a really fun time with the Freakish Workshop. It was great seeing a lot of amazing cosplayers. Everyone's smiling, and I think that's something that is really nice nowadays. I feel like there are, again, I don't want to throw Expo under the bus because it is my first con. I will always have, love goggles on for that con because it is such a big con and I have so many amazing memories of it. But I know sometime before, sometime after, there will be comments online about something happening. Something, whether it's cell phones or whether it's, somebody doing something inappropriate, guests canceling, all these things. It's nice to not hear any of that after a convention. Like, I haven't heard anything negative about London. And that makes me feel really good, because I think it's very easy for people to be like, didn't have a lot of vendors, and my kid didn't enjoy it. I haven't heard anything bad. So, round of applause to London and doing it well, and also being on the Geeks & Co show last week and talking about the con and giving a backstage, backroom's the wrong term, like a backstage view of what goes into building a con. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about. I think about it because I volunteer, I know how a con runs, I've seen the back end. But I think there's a lot of people who don't understand the logistics and the compromises that have to be made at some of these conventions just to have them run. And I think it's very easy to throw in, well, I would do this, and I would, couch quarterback all this. And it's like, yeah, but let's get into the logistics of it. I think having your owner or the person running it come out onto a podcast and be like, let's talk about it. And let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the bad. Let's talk about what goes into bringing guests. If you guys didn't see it, by the way, go to the Geeks & Co channel. Check it out from last week's episode where they just talked about it. It was a great interview talking about what it's like to run a convention and what runs, having, flights happen, and flights, some people don't want to drive in a car for 9 hours. So it's nice to see some positivity come out of this con, and I feel like there's been a lot of it coming out of this. So I hope that continues, and I hope we see more of that in the coming years at the new venue. And it looks like their cosplay scene is going to take a giant rocket into the next stratosphere. So good for them. I think that's kind of it. When it comes to the weekend. J. Jonah Jameson was a blast. It is going to be another cosplay that is going to end up in my rotation, which is becoming a large rotation at this point. And now I'm going to do Superboy too. So, geez. This is the fun of cosplay. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like, I've got 15 totes there of small cosplays, let alone the bigger ones that are like Ghost Rider and stuff. It's a fun hobby, though. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. As I said a little bit earlier in the show, next week we will be back. We're going to talk all about Hamilton Comic-Con, because I will be there in the autograph area running the volunteers around. We're going to have a fun time. If you're a fan of Dazed and Confused, you should come to Hamilton Comic-Con because they're doing a big Dazed and Confused reunion. Ernie Hudson from the Ghostbusters and The Crow is going to be there. Karen Ashley from the Power Rangers is going to be there. I can never remember Rocky's name is going to be there. There's a good amount of guests there. There is a lot of fun to be had this coming weekend at Hamilton Comic Con. Swing by if you see me and I'm not running around with my hair on fire. Swing by, say hi. Would love to see you. And then after that, we are going to be... What's after Hamilton Comic Con? Ooh, we're going to do Hamilton Comic Con next week. And then after that, we're going to talk all about Mortal Kombat, because the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is on its way. It should be coming out in the next few months. So I'm going to talk all about Mortal Kombat because Mortal Kombat is one of my favorite video game franchises ever. I famously, or infamously, depending on if you were in the class or not, in high school had a writing assignment where we had to read a book and do a presentation on the topic. I read the novelization of Mortal Kombat. It wasn't the movie, it was just a full novelization of their backstory. And I did a presentation to the point where I got thrown off the front of where I was doing the presentation because I took too long. I swear I was up there for half an hour just going on and on about Mortal Kombat. So I'm a big fan. I can't wait to talk about my love for it and what I think of the new versions of Mortal Kombat, because there's been a lot of changes since WB took them over, and we're going to talk about that and my love of the old franchise. So, Randy, how about the new Borderlands? I have not played the new Borderlands yet. I need to play the new Borderlands. Everything I've seen about it has been good. Right now, I am running through the last little bit of replaying Spider-Man, and then I got a few indie games I want to play, and then we will hopefully... I'm thinking within the next month or two, I'll probably pick up Borderlands and give it a shot. I was apprehensive because of Borderlands 3 was okay, but everything I've heard about Borderlands 4 is a blast. So I will be picking it up, and if I don't pick it up, I'll be definitely asking for it for Christmas. But yeah, next week, Hamilton, the week after, Mortal Kombat, and then probably about 15 more cons for the rest of the fall. Have yourselves a great night. I love you all. I greatly appreciate that you spend your Monday with me. Take care. We'll see you all soon. See you guys. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.